What's good, Wizards fans? This is your host, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. The Washington Wizards lose a close one to the Orlando Magic, 125 to 130. We're going to talk about Johnny Davis and his shot and recapping the game. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, my guy Brandon Scott. The Washington Wizards once again lose another one. They are now 3-16 on the season, and this one was a tough one. It's definitely one of the few winnable games of the season, losing 125 to 132, the Orlando Magic. Brandon, what were some good things you saw, and then where did it go wrong in the second half for the Washington Wizards?
Good question, man. Looking at the positives first. Kyle Kuzma, 27 points, 6 rebounds, shot 10 for 18. So he had a really good game. I mean, that's kind of been his MO all year. You know, he's definitely an electric scorer. So you're going to see pretty much 20 plus every game from him. Gafford, yeah, I get the competition wasn't the best at center for the Orlando Magic, but good game for him. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 7 for 10 from the field, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. So Gafford did have a really good game. And this is what you want to see from Gaff in the paint, definitely enforcing his will, man, with 3 blocks. 11 rebounds is a good mark on him. So looking at the starters, Tyus Jones kind of underwhelming, scoring, 13 points, but he shot 5 for 10, 2 steals, but 6 assists. So we're looking at positives. I ain't gonna get on Jordan Poole and Denny yet, but the second unit, man, the bench, they really shined because looking at Kispert, 15 points, 4 for 11, but he did shoot 4 for 6 from 3, so he was his usual sniper self. Shamet, 13 points again. Shamet continues to boost his value, his trade value. That is, 5 for 8. He was efficient from the field, 3 for 3 from 3. So Shamet has definitely been a bright spot on his bench. Looking at Bilal Coulibaly, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 6 for 7 from the field. No threes, but 3 steals. So he continues to evolve as an offensive force. Obviously, he is getting there, but he is not like operating from bare nothing with offensive skill. Like his offensive skills are definitely coming along. So from a positive standpoint, like you said, they fought. They were in it for most of the game till, again, the fourth quarter. But, they definitely played them well. They played them tough. 2 in a row to Orlando. So, they definitely knew their opponent from playing them the second time. And again, Franz Wagner, man, Orlando just 2 different teams in rebuild, man. They really hit their draft picks. Franz Wagner, man, is just, a 6'10", two-way guy that he's a sniper who can defend. The list goes on, but, Banchero, sorry. Again, he looks solid, man. This team, Orlando, really, really came out to play, because looking at, 31 points from Wagner and 28 by Banchero. But, getting back to the Wizards, man, again, all you want to see is effort in fight. And they fought till that fourth quarter where, again, they kind of got away from them. So, yeah, that would be my positives, man. You saw progress from who you want to see progress from, outside of Denny and Jordan Poole, who had bad games. But, looking at the positives, Shamet definitely continues to boost his trade value, in my opinion. And, Bilal, his offensive game, again, is starting to evolve. Now, is he there where we want him to be yet? Nah, but you definitely see the strides. You definitely see the potential with Bilal. And, again, Kispert, when his shot's dropping, his shot is dropping. But, looking at 2 people real quick, Shamet and Kyle Kuzma, man, they continue to boost their value. And this is definitely good news for the Washington Wizards, especially as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline.
Definitely, yeah. Kuzma is playing good ball. The only thing he's got to work on the turnovers, but he is creating a lot of shots for others. You see the point Kuz. Sometimes it works, sometimes it ends up with bad turnovers. But honestly, this was a close game. It was a huge improvement for the last game. They got blown out the last game. Wasn't competitive at all. They really had a chance, really The whole game throughout, they had a chance. I just think defensively they had a lot of breakdowns. They were playing zone. The zone worked for a few possessions, and then the middle of the court was wide open. Mo Wagner had a bunch of easy baskets. Paolo got to the basket every time. And there was a lot of backdoor cuts they gave up. Jordan Poole gave up one. Tyus Jones gave up. Basically, everybody on the team gave up a couple backdoor cuts. So it wasn't just Jordan Poole. There was one clip that I saw online. It was just like, I don't know what kind of defense they were playing. It was they were playing zone, but Gafford was up at the 3-point line. Somebody backdoor cut Jordan Poole. They easily went in for a layup. It might have been a dunk. So the defense was just, the communication was bad. The scheme was bad. The zone was not working at all. They were getting open looks, open shots, open threes. It just didn't work. So I don't know why Wes stayed in that zone, but we know how Wes is. Wes, he'll stick with one thing and he'll stick to it, whether it's good or bad. He doesn't really make, especially in the second half, doesn't really, he definitely has to work on making adjustments for sure. But so that's where they really lost it. It's just defensively, I know you talked about Kuzma with the parked car or the stop sign. They can't guard. Franz Wagner going for 31, Paolo going for 28. Jalen Suggs had a darn good game as well. So just looking at the numbers, they gave up 130 points in total, and it was a high scoring game as well. So it's not like the Magic were playing good defense either. But Mo Wagner had 18, Ingles had 14, Banchero had 28, Wagner 31, Suggs with 15. So they were once again they couldn't guard a stop sign at all out there. But on the positive side, I thought Bilal showed some flashes. Gafford played strong. Of course, the matchup was easier against Goga Bitadze, not a dominant sitter at all, but Gafford played better. 18 points, 11 boards, 3 blocks. And yes, once again, like you said with Shamet, he really is. His trade value is not really going to go up. I still think it's going to be a second-round pick or maybe 2 second-round picks. But 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. There were some big shots that he made to take the lead. We went up by 1 at one point in the fourth quarter, and those were some big shots from him. Corey Kispert hit some big shots as well, 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. Once again, Gallo just can't guard anybody. He was getting scored on a lot in the zone. But yeah, those are really the only positives. That Shamet played well, and Bilal showed some flashes. But Bilal did have a turnover with 5 minutes left. That hurt us, but I'm not going to blame the game on him at all. But yeah, you just look at the second half for the most part. But I thought there were some positives. They stayed within it. Denny didn't have his best game. He ended up with 6 points, 2 for 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. So he didn't have his best outing. I thought he played pretty well the night before, but tonight he showed a little bit of inconsistency. And then Tyus was solid for the most part, 13.6 assists. But yeah, once again, it just came down to defense and getting stops towards the end of the game. They just weren't able to do that, and they weren't able to, transition defense was bad too. They weren't, and then just the backdoor cuts were ridiculous. As many times they let guys backdoor cut them.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, man, and we're definitely going to talk about it, especially within the next couple of days, man. We're going to talk about, West Unseld, man. I mean, year 3, and it's just another game where. Every part of the defense is bad. We can't guard in transition. We can't guard the perimeter. We can't guard the interior. We can't communicate. We can't, you know what I mean? The rotations are slow. The closeouts are slow. We're just an abysmal defensive team. And then rebounding is just, if not just as bad, as worse. This is probably the worst rebounding and defensive team I've seen in DC. And I've seen a lot of years of Wizards / Bullets basketball, man. But another statistic is they missed 9 free throws. I mean, you lose by 5, and man, that's 9 points on the table. You got to hit some free shots, man. I mean, you got to hit free throws. But you mentioned it with Shaman, is that I agree that his trade value is not going to get too high. Like you're not going to get any kind of first or any significant assets back. But the playoff teams need a guy who can hit clutch shots. Like he hits shots, man, that are like hard to hit. Like, hand in his face. I mean, he is playing some good basketball, man. So I definitely think that a contender is going to want a guy off the bench who can definitely hit those shots and, pop to the lane and dunk on somebody from time to time. And again, when, Kyle Kuzma, I get it that the consistency is kind of weird in Wizards land right now because a lot of people, want to see him here long term. But I think that, he's definitely a trade asset, man. And, look, the way he's playing, again, I think he could be flipped in offseason. Now, could he be flipped at the deadline? We'll see. I mean, if the Wizards get a deal that's too good to give up, maybe they make that move. But, again, it's a loss, but you see everything you want to see, especially from these veteran guys getting a boost in their value and, the young guys. But, the negatives, Jordan Poole is not on him. Again, he has been very underwhelming this year. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Efficiency, again, was an issue, 3 for 12 from the field, and a donut and out of 5 in 3-point shots. But he did shoot 8 for 9 from the free throw line. But, I feel like we say this every game, man. It's like the same issues come to haunt us, and his defense and rebound. So that's, it boils down to that. We fought hard, but we just can't defend, and we cannot end possessions for the other team. So,
right. Yeah, definitely. We're going to talk about Johnny Davis and, his shot and then his play of late. Before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Got to make some picks on FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, all over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Also, make sure you guys check out the Locked On Sports Network. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, so there is a viral clip going on with Johnny Davis. He pulled up against the Orlando Magic. I want to say it was in the second half. He had a wide open mid-range jumper, and it just clinked off the side of the back, the side of the rim and the backboard. And you just look at the Magic bench, and they're kind of laughing, and they're kind of talking trash to him. So it's unfortunate. I think Joe Ingles looks like he was talking trash. The Magic, they talked a lot of trash. They got Chippy, Gogo Batadze got attacked. Some of the guys are going back and forth for sure. It was getting a little chippy out there. A lot of guys, Mo Wagner, he's a high energy guy. Jalen Suggs, he thought he was LeBron with the little, he put his hands out after alley-oop in the first game. So a lot of the guys were chirping back and forth for sure.
So
the Magic guys were talking a lot of, I know, right? The Magic guys were talking a lot of trash on over the last game. But just Johnny Davis, what are your thoughts on his shots and just where he is right now? Tomorrow we'll probably do some grades as well in a mailbag, but just Johnny Davis with his confidence in that shot right now, and the development, what the Wizards have done to his shot. Just what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, man. That's the question. What have they done to his shot? Mm-hmm. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I say that because if you look at, look, here's the MO on Johnny Davis. We said this all season going into the season, especially last year, that, he started slow at Wisconsin, so we kind of, that's why I think to a certain degree, we both kind of thought that he could take that step this year because he, again, looking at Wisconsin, really at 3, he regressed at Wisconsin. But his first year in Wisconsin, he shot 38% from 3. So it's not like he's hit that shot in college and he played in the Big Ten. So I don't know why they decided to tinker with a shot. Because if you look at highlight footage of him in Wisconsin, he's not a sniper, but it's a fluent shooting motion. Now you got the leg. Tinkering the leg, now the elbows poking out. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like, it's ugly, man. Now you got people on the bench laughing at him. I don't know how low his confidence can get, man. You got people laughing. I feel bad for Johnny, man. I really do. I feel bad for Johnny because, dealing with the issue with the minutes, I firmly believe right now with DeLon being out, this is a time where he can get minutes, especially, with it being a rebuild, you got to prioritize playing some of these young guys. And the fact that he's not getting minutes are questionable, but again, confidence. They're killing his confidence, man. Between the rotation minutes and, the shot is abysmal, man. You can argue he's probably top 10, top 15 ugliest shots I've seen in a minute. It make Michael Gilchrist look like a sniper.
Sean Marion.
Oh, Lord. It's bad, man. It's just, I don't know why they had to tinker with it because at first, there was no problem with his release. It was just he did some kind of leg motion. Now, and I know he was dealing with an elbow injury, but it's just, I don't know what they did to the shot. I don't know why they tinkered with it. And it's sad, man. I think this is going to develop to a really sad part of the season. And the reason for that, man, because he was the 10th pick, and really, what's going to be his legacy in here in DC? He's going to be part of a trade. With his rotation minutes and the struggles that he's had, he's clearly not part of his organization's vision going forward. And it's sad because he was a high pick. He was a lot of pick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's just, again, is just another bad mark on Tommy Shepard. You draft a guy 10th who probably is not going to be with his organization next year. And it's just, and then, like I said, he didn't come in the league as a sniper, but he was a guy who was an offensive-minded guard. And then, and from day one, they kept tinkering with him, man, and kept messing with him and trying to mold him into something he wasn't. He's not a point guard. He's not a guy. I mean, it's just I don't know why they had to play Frankenstein and try to change him. Let him be what he was at Wisconsin, man. And the fact that they didn't let him do that, I think, is a disservice to his development. And, hopefully this front office can find somewhere that's going to develop him and give him the minutes to try to develop him, man, because I don't think it's in DCE. And it's like I said, the shot is ugly. And it's nothing against Johnny, man. I really want to see you prosper, whether it's here in the 202 or another team. I firmly believe that some work with some development, he can be an NBA player, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to be in DCE.
Yeah, I don't think so either. You hit the nail on the head with a lot of points there. He just doesn't look confident right now. I know he had an injury to start off the season, but the shot, just the motion, his legs going inward, and it looks like his body and his mind are just not on the same page right now. I mean, that's a mid-range shot that he hits 10 times out of 10 in Wisconsin. That's his bread and butter right there in college. And I know some guys, their game just doesn't translate to college, and right now it just looks like his game is not translating. He can't even hit the open ones right now. So, and I know I talked about his playing time with West, giving him 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. He's just not getting much of a rhythm, but it just looks like it's just not going to pan out here if he can't hit the layups and the easy shots like that, and his confidence is just not there. It's just not going to work out in DC. Yeah, it is unfortunate. I thought coming out, I did think he was definitely a lottery pick at Wisconsin. Just his grit, his grind, and his freshman year. He had a pedestrian freshman year. His sophomore year he blossomed into a darn good player, a Big Ten Player of the Year. Now, I know a lot of Big Ten Players of the Year haven't panned out in the NBA either. Like Frank Kaminsky, he was Big Ten Player of the Year. He hasn't really had a great career either, but another Wisconsin guy. But, yeah, I mean, he's just kind of out there. He's just out there. He's not really playing with a lot of confidence. He's just kind of running up and down and not really getting in a rhythm, not really moving with confidence. Like I see Denny right now. He's moving with – he didn't have a great game, but – he's decisive. He's moving with confidence. He's getting to his spots. He's moving with a purpose. Where right now, Johnny kind of just looks like he's trying to, get a feel for the game right now. And, so and Shamet's playing the way he's playing. It's like, yeah, you can't sit down with Shamet and be like, hey, Johnny, here's some minutes. He has to earn the minutes. I wanted him to play because, he's a top 10 pick. It's like you got to see what you got in a top 10 pick or the 10th pick of the draft. But, since Tommy Shepard is going and Will Dawkins, they couldn't really care less, because they didn't draft him. So it's not there. They don't really feel obligated to develop him. So I don't, we'll see if he's here past the trade deadline. I don't think he'll be here next year. But I would like to see him get more opportunities, but he's certainly got to earn it. I know defensively he tries. He's one of the few defensive-minded guys on the roster or that plays with effort on the defensive end. That's why I do want to see him get more minutes, but offensively, it looks like he's got a long way to go for sure, but the only way he can get better is with time. So, we'll see what happens with Johnny, but, shots like that, just the shot, I don't know what the coaching staff has done, but you even look at the form, like he's bringing the ball down and going up, and before he would just catch it and shoot it at Wisconsin. So I know it's a totally different game in college, but yeah, that shot was definitely a rock bottom kind of shot right there. That was it was rough to watch. It was rough to watch, but yeah, Shamet's playing well, and it's like, if Shamet's gonna play like that, then you gotta give him playing time, especially before the trade deadline. Like he's earning more minutes. At times, he's playing better than Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole went 0 for 5 from the 3-point line, and Shamet is making some more. At times, Shamet is more impactful and playing better at times. Of course, Shamet's not the better player, but. And Shamet's trying to dunk on people too, man. He tried to dunk on, I think it was either Banchero or one of the Magic players. He was trying to dunk on someone. I think it was Mo Wagner. He tried to dunk on Mo Wagner. You missed it, but I love the aggression and how hard he goes to the basket. So I certainly appreciate that. But with Johnny, I'm rooting for Johnny. If he's still here after the trade deadline, I think I think after that, that's going to be the time where he gets more plans. Like kind of like last year, where he got a lot of shots up, but a lot of volume. He would go like 5 for 20 and 6. Some of the games were better towards the end of the season, but I think that's the only time he's really gonna see the floor consistently.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. And it just comes back to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, if you look at Wisconsin, his freshman year, like I said, his 3-point percentage was 38%, but he was only playing 24 minutes a game, only averaging 7 points per game. But his sophomore year, it boosted up to 34 minutes a game. Did shoot 30% from 3, but he was more of a focal point of their offense, scoring almost 20 points a game. And I mean, his game is a mid-range jumper. So, I mean, not everybody's going to be a 3-point shooter. I get the NBA now is a perimeter-driven league, but not everybody. I mean, DeMar DeRozan has a career of being a mid-range guy. Michael Jordan was never a sniper from 3. I know he had his moments where he can knock him down, but, you got to let him be who he's going to be, which is a mid-range guy who can drive the lane. And they have shattered his confidence, man. I mean, even if you keep him past the deadline, what do you tell him, man? All right, now, after probably a full season and some change, now it's time for you to get some minutes. I mean, young guys, confidence is taking a beating, man. And I don't know if it could ever be recruit. I mean, really. And, I see them as, dealing with Johnny Davis kind of the way the Commanders are dealing with certain pieces from the Dan Snyder era, right? They're trying to go ahead and start a new era and get rid of certain pieces. And I can see that the same thing with the Tommy Shepard era with the Wizards. Getting rid of Johnny Davis, man, is kind of their way of, resetting, because that was the last draft pick of Tommy Shepard. And he is clearly not a part of this team's future, man. And it really, I feel bad for the kid, man, because, now he's got to restart, try to develop all over again in the new team. And you can argue, with minutes, he should have responded. But, I mean, like I said, man, 15 minutes a game is hard to come off the bench, play and find your rhythm, man, and only play 15 minutes a game. So I don't understand. So, yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's not going to be here. If he lasts past the deadline, he ain't going to be here next year, man. And it's sad, but maybe it's needed.
Yeah. I think the front office, I think they made their mind up on Johnny, and I think Wes Unseld Jr. has made his mind up on Johnny, unfortunately. And they asked Wes Unseld Jr. before the season even started, he's going to get rotation minutes, and Wes wouldn't even commit to that. So, when I heard that from Wes, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a long year for Johnny Davis. I see a lot of comments saying go. I wouldn't go that far, but we're gonna get to a quick word from Brandon, and we're gonna hop into the comments.
Absolutely. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. So I'm a big guy who goes to a lot of games, Commanders games, Wizards games, any sports event I can go to because I'm just a sports head, man. So looking at Gametime, I've gone through every app, SeatGeek, Ticketmaster, and I've had a lot of issues, but not with Gametime, because with Gametime, you shouldn't have to worry about buying your tickets to your next event. Gametime is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all sporting events, plus music concerts, comedy shows, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So, what are some good things about Gametime? Well, number one, you can see the view from your seat before you buy it, which is key. So you know exactly where you sit and what to expect when you arrive, right? All-in prices show your total up front, so you know what you get. You're getting a great deal without all the hidden fees. Because, I mean, like I said, the hidden fees are the biggest thing I did not like about the other ticket providers. So, hey, all you got to do is take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your next purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Yes, sir. Let's hop into some of these comments here. First one is Bullets Nation. He says, I don't know how y'all continue to cover this team. Worst defensive and rebounding we've ever had in DC. We were supposed to change things and only made it 10 times worse. Now, I mean, it's a rebuild, so of course they did change things. They traded Brad, they traded Porzingis, they traded Monte Morris, a lot of turnover, but that was the change. So you just have to be patient. You have to trust the process. This is going to take 3 years at minimum, in my opinion. They're going to have to load up on draft picks, because You think starting from scratch? We're starting from scratch, man. A lot of teams they are way further ahead in their rebuild than where we are. Like you look at the Thunder when they traded Paul George,
Yep.
and they traded Russell Westbrook. They got a bunch of first round picks for those guys. You look at us, the best we got was a second round pick, a bunch of pick swaps for Bradley Beal, so we didn't get any first for that. We finally got a first for Jordan Poole, but that's like a later first, is protected, top 20 protected. So we didn't get a lot of firsts. Like you look at even Rudy Gobert, he got traded for a bunch of firsts. Donovan Mitchell, a lot of guys, when they start their rebuild, teams usually get firsts, and we didn't. So it's going to take a long time for this. Like I said, I want to say I would bet probably 3 years for this rebuild to happen. And you just have to be patient with the process here. You have to be patient. So defensively, and I think the front office, yes, they could have got another big man. We talked about that 100 million times. I know they're not trying to win, but at the same time, you can still be competitive. Them only putting Gafford out there is inexcusable. So that's the one thing I really disagree with Will Dawkins and Schlenk and Michael Winger. They could have at least drafted another guy who's 7 feet and can move their feet at least, and not have Gallo as your backup center.
Amen.
That's why the rebound is so bad.
Oh man, I agree. And you hit a lot of good points, man. If a couple of those teams you mentioned, Oklahoma City and Orlando, the reason why they were able to rebuild and hit on draft picks is because they sold their assets at the right time, at the peak of their value. We waited 3 years too late to move on from Bradley Beal. And it was really we overvalued him by giving him Supermax, because if you look at the players you mentioned, he's not in Paul George's tier. I mean, let's be real. And Paul George is a guy that you're going to be willing to drop some first round picks on. Bradley Beal, I mean, honestly, come on. I mean, would you drop a first round pick of Bradley Beal if you were in the Suns? I mean, if you were in that position? Because I wouldn't.
Right. No.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just you're right. We started with nothing, and this organization really trying to dig itself out of the Tommy Shepard era with all his mistakes. So yeah, I mean, I agree that worst defensive and rebounding team, absolutely. And we're in a rebuild, but with this being a transitional year and us going, because I believe our first official year of the rebuild is going to be next year. But I think that you got to establish culture, and I don't think that Wes Unseld Jr. is that coach who's going to solidify the culture here in DC. I just don't think, because defense again is the third year in a row where the defense is terrible to look at. I mean, I had tears in my eye the last game, man. I couldn't watch it no more. So yeah, I agree. It's hard to watch, man.
Yeah, and they're still evaluating. There's so many guys that they got to move. They got to move Gallo. They got to move Shamet. They got to move Milan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that they got to move. They're still evaluating. I don't know if they're still evaluating Johnny, but they got to see what they got in Johnny. So there's a lot of moving parts. I think the one guy that they're certainly committed to is Bilal, and that's really it. And you're evaluating Jordan Poole, seeing what they end up doing with him, if he's moved before the deadline now because of his play. He hasn't played up to expectations. Kyle Kuzma's playing really well. The tweet that came out saying that they want to trade Kyle Kuzma actually responded to the tweet and said, "You guys want to trade me?" Oh man, so but I think it's a part of the business. Kyle Kuzma, I think he knows really at the back of his mind that he eventually is going to be moved by the Wizards, that they're just in a rebuilding phase. And, he has a really friendly contract. So I think deep down he knows. I know he would like to stay, which is great. I love when players play hard and they want to stay. So I'm not mad at Kuz for, wanting to stay. I think he's played hard. He's played hard with some effort. Some of the late game decisions, some shot selection definitely makes you scratch your head at times, but I think he's been one of the few bright spots on the roster so far. But defensive rebound is terrible, and the change will come. You just got to wait on it.
Yeah, you definitely got to be patient. Lord.
Yes, sir. Big J 52. So Brando 72 says Unseld's a joke. Big J 52 says, I think West found his type of player in Shamet. Let him stay and make Gill a coach. I'll let you take this one, Brandon.
I mean, he might have found a style player, but he could be gone by the deadline. So I mean, it's gonna be a short-lived friendship, man. And Gill, I mean, he's been the coach. I guess he's been parked on the bench for 3-4 years now. So I mean, Wes, I mean, I know we're gonna be talking a lot about Wes, man, because it's just I don't think he's it, man. He's not it. I get it. He was, his first time head coach, but this is year 3. You want to see some significant improvement. as far as his, adjustments at the halftime, as far as his rotations, as far as, defense is your MO. Like, come on, man. Like, that is what you're known for. That's what you're rumored to bring to this organization. And quite frankly, this defense is worse than it was on the Scott Brooks, man. I mean, it's just I mean, there's no part of defense, there's no effort. We can't defend the paint, we can defend the perimeter, we can't run with teams we want to run. We take our time rotating assignments, we take our time closing out the shooters. I mean, look, every game, I count it, man. It's 3 to 4 seconds before anybody even gets close to a shooter. I mean, it's hard to watch. So I don't see how you go into next year as Wes Unseld Jr. as a coach, man. Because how long do you need till you get to the point where he ain't it? And that's why we both said it was very questionable why they enacted his 4th-year option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they know. I think they know they're going to move on next year or later on next year. He's just in that similar Steven Silas for the Rockets situation. Yeah. And then, who knows who they bring in for the next coach. Is it going to be Brian Keefe or David Vanderpool? They're going to promote those guys or bring in somebody else from the outside. So time will tell on that. And then, the rookie that we get next year, or, the top draft pick that we get next year, I would like to see them coached and developed by somebody else. I think that would be a good move for the future as well. So I think they know for sure. But yeah, bringing them back was certainly an interesting move for sure. And has West found this type of player in Shamet? Yeah, I think he likes Shamet a lot. Let me see, how many minutes did Shamet play last game? Shamet definitely earned his minutes. He played 18 minutes. He only played 18 minutes. Gallo played 21. Bilal played 32. Johnny played 6 minutes. He didn't play Muscala at all. Eugene didn't play at all. Eugene only plays in garbage minutes, but he plays really, really well. Denny only got 20 minutes. Denny only had 1 foul, only played 20 minutes. So, that was just a coaching decision right there, not because of foul trouble. And then Jordan Poole played 30 minutes. So Jordan Poole got a good amount of minutes, 3 for 12, 0 for 5. But, Shamet didn't play much. And he made the most out of his minutes, 13 points in 18 minutes. So I thought he played pretty well with the minutes given. But, I think he likes Shamet. And, I wasn't the biggest Shamet fan before the season started. But, I mean, if he's going to play like that, then you might as well play him before the trade deadline. Cato says this whole team is a joke. They have not one star player. He says they draft terrible, though. It's frustrating being a Wizards fan. He missed the John Wall era. And he said he used to look forward to watching games.
I mean, no, man, don't be like that, man. I mean, to me, I know it's hard to watch them lose and get blown out and make mistakes, even when they play tough, man. But to me, I guess the enjoyment about a rebuilding team is watching these young guys flourish. Like, it's good to see Denny. You had an off game, but it's been good to see him develop his offensive game. Bilal, man, it's been cool watching him. I mean, because I'm trying to say, he's got a dog in him on the defensive end, and he's got some ups on the offensive end, man. When he figures it out, he's going to be special. So, I mean, it's hard to watch, man, but definitely look at the bright side. I mean, you get to see the future of this team. Bilal is definitely going to be something special. But I'm with you, man. Going into next year, presumably we're going to get a top 5 pick, hopefully the first overall. I want somebody else to develop this guy, man, because I just the track record with West is just, to me, I've seen enough. So.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then Unknown Ism says maybe Johnny Davis was working out with Ben Simmons. Just kidding. But it's not his fault. It's the Wizards' fault. And remember, tomorrow we are going to be doing a mailbag episode, and we're going to preview the 76ers game for Wednesday. So make sure you guys enter your questions down below in the comment section, and we're going to put something up in the community tab as well. But this will be the last one. Brady, you can take this one first.
Got you. Oh, we still got the same one.
Yeah, this one and this
my bad. See, look at me.
Yeah, they said this really isn't Johnny Davis' fault. The Wizards drafted fool's gold, and he said that Go does not want Johnny Davis.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I mean, working out with Ben Simmons, man, like, we know how that is every year, the workout video where Ben Simmons is splashing threes and then he's terrified under the hoop. But Johnny Davis, man, I'm hoping. I said this going into the year, man. I hope he figures it out, but they're not giving him much chance to figure it out. 6 minutes, man. And again, Going back to Wisconsin, I didn't understand what really was his problem with his shot to tinker it. When you look at people where you need to tinker the shot, Lonzo Ball was a guy where his shot was a little ugly, but when they tinker with it, it boosted his value as a player. And I mean, look at him. I mean, he was a point guard with vision. Now he's a point guard who can drain threes, or he's been injured for the last couple of years. But, with Johnny, it wasn't exactly broke. His MO is not 3-point shooting. It's just, but with that form, he's going to hit him now. He can't hit this broad side of a barn. I mean, that was a mid-range shot, and that was ugly, man. I mean, that's just, so I really not, look, I hope he figures it out, man. If it's not going to be DC, I hope they send him somewhere where he can develop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we're going to talk about the Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, because I know there's some numbers about them as the worst duo or the worst chemistry. So we're gonna talk about that on the next episode. But we want to thank you guys for tuning in and making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you guys get podcasts. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.